One of the things that separates a Mary Sue from a well-written but highly powerful character is internal conflict. Both will be able to handle external conflict easily, but well-written yet powerful characters often have an internal conflict that keeps them interesting. Take, for example, Avatar Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. The Avatar is the incarnation of goodness in the world who is able to master all four elemental fighting styles: earth, fire, air, and water. Aang is the current incarnation of the Avatar and, as such, is extremely powerful. He learns new skills quickly, defeats enemies often by just evading them, and is capable of going into the Avatar state. Eyes glow white, wind picks up stuff around him, people flee in terror, that sort of thing, when in danger. He's extremely powerful. But Aang fled his home when he found out he was the Avatar. He got caught in a storm and frozen in ice for 100 years. During that time, the Fire Nation launched a global war and wiped out the Airbenders, Aang's people, leaving him as, you guessed it, the last Airbender. For 100 years, the people of the world wondered why the Avatar, who was supposed to be the protector of peace and balance in the world, had left them in such a time of need. Aang has to live with the guilt and process it as the series goes on. He has tremendous internal conflict that he slowly learns to overcome. Aang is not a Mary Sue. Captain Marvel, who I thought was the most boring character in her movie, is still not a Mary Sue. She has tremendous internal conflict as she tries to deal with her lost memories and brainwashing. Also, she isn't as powerful for most of the movie as she is at the end, so that helps too. But even when she gets her full powers and blasts Jude Law across the desert, she tells him, "I have nothing to prove to you." Internal conflict. Just boring and bland, but still not a Mary Sue. Rey has internal conflict due to her not knowing her past or why she is suddenly just oozing with force powers for some reason. Rey is not a Mary Sue, but only because JJ saved her from such a fate by slapping that Palpatine's granddaughter thing on her. This is the part where I wish we could apply some death of the author and treat the stories as they are. Rey has internal conflict that directly relates to the story. Her background and sudden and alarming force powers are all explained. She is not a Mary Sue. But the problem is we have that whole 2-year period where she kinda was. Her main internal conflict, who her parents are and where she comes from, was something that Johnson, for some reason, decided could be wrapped up in the second act of the series. This would be like if Captain Marvel dealt with her amnesia and got all her powers in the second act of the movie, and then spent the third act, I don't know, because we don't know what Johnson was expecting Rey to do in the third movie. Either she would just kick ass and be a Mary Sue, or they would have to bafflingly add a new internal conflict for her to resolve, which would feel even hastier and forced than the stupid Palpatine thing. What Disney should have done is just told Johnson to cool it with his defending himself on Twitter and play it off like this was all his plan all along. Then The Last Jedi haters could have been like, "Johnson, you dog, you had us fooled," instead of, "JJ, you saved us," sort of. JJ added back in some internal conflict in a way that made it seem like it never really left. Of course, he also upped her power level for no reason, so she's now healing mortal wounds and blowing up ships, but okay, whatever. Making her a Palpatine moves away from the Skywalker lineage and does subversion right, where what we were expecting isn't quite true, but we still got, an answer. It connects her internal and external conflict, and while the whole "I am your father" thing has been done, this is variant enough in that her relation is someone she could never turn back to the light. It also makes that straight to the dark scene in The Last Jedi more interesting, with Luke being scared of her. If only they could have done this without undoing everything in the original trilogy. Have her go up against a cult of people who worship her grandfather and want to use her to resurrect him or something, instead of making it so Palpatine was still alive and Anakin failed as the chosen one. But I digress. We have another video on that topic you can watch here if you want. Like and subscribe to hear more from Fandom Canon, but most importantly of all, thanks for watching.